It's the most wonderful time of the year. Season's greetings there, you loose units, and welcome to another episode of Spicy Boy Reviews. I'm, of course, your host, Andrew Iles. Hope you've been looking after yourselves, looking after each other, pulling your heads in and all that jingle. Here we are for another week, another episode, and a very Christmassy movie this time around, so let's get straight into it. Today we are reviewing Home Sweet Home Alone. Hey there, kids in their 30s. Remember Home Alone? Remember the slapstick traps that should have murdered Joe Pesci and Daniel Stern? Well, hold on to those memories, because now that Disney paid a shitload of money for 20th Century Fox, that's all you'll have this Christmas. Because under the tree beside that bag of coal, you'll have a steaming pile of Home Sweet Home Alone. That's right, Home Sweet Home Alone, the pseudo-reboot, I suppose, of the Home Alone franchise, because now that Disney owns every studio in Hollywood, they have to justify the price tag that they paid for said studios to their shareholders by rebooting every property that they've got their grubby little hands on. Directed by Dan Mazer, who's most notably known for directing Dirty Grandpa. Perfect choice for director for rebooting the Home Alone franchise, am I right? We open on Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt and Honey Bear trying to sell their house they can no longer afford to live in because Honey Bear is now unemployed. Our Kevin McAllister fill-in here is Mini Ricky Gervais, and he really needs to pee at the start of the film, so his mother pulls into the open house inspection of the aforementioned couple to use their bathroom. From the get-go, this kid is uberly obnoxious and pratty. See, Macaulay Culkin's character was no saint in the first two films, but he had heaps of charisma at least. Because this new kid is such a little shit, it seems that he has stolen a vintage doll from the house because he didn't like Honey Bear's dad jokes. Our hero, everyone! Then we cut to the McAllister household and have the exact same setup as the original film, but like any reboot, it's just filled with different people. Everything's chaotic, everyone's running around yelling at each other, being really mean to our main kid here, but unlike the original film, here it feels justified. Honey Bear's overbearing brother, his wife, and his kid come to visit and stay with them for Christmas, and it's clear that this brother has way more money than they do. You know the cliche. Honey Bear, of course, feels emasculated because he's lost his job and he can't afford to pay for the house that he and his family wanted to grow old in. Then he discovers that his mother's vintage doll is actually worth $200,000 because reasons. But what? The doll is missing. It was a kid. It was a kid that stole it, I tells ya. Motivation! Of course, the same thing happens in the original film. Baby James Corden is left at home alone. Because everyone in the household, his whole family is racing off to the airport because they're in a mad rush so they can go spend Christmas in Tokyo. Wait a minute, what? Does this family hate their kids? I mean, don't get me wrong, Japan is beautiful and all, but for Christmas? You'll notice that the film is chock full of actors that will make you say, oh yeah, I remember that actor. Yeah, they were in funny stuff before. That's a shame. There's actually one scene where two characters are watching a movie, and the movie that they're watching, verbatim, word for word, is the exact same dialogue from the gangster flick that Kevin McAllister watched in the original film. You know, the one that he used the sound bites for to scare the pizza delivery guy. And this character watching the movie turns to the other character and says, why do they have to keep making classics? They'll never be as good as the original. What? This film just took a massive shit on itself. At one point, our title character here goes to a church to try and steal some toys from a church charity drive. Our hero, everyone! But before you ask, yes, this film is set in the original's universe. We know this because Buzz from the first two films rocks up and makes a gratuitous cameo, and the director makes a point of zooming in on that McAllister name badge, so we know. And here, Buzz is a cop now. He's a cop in the future, which makes sense because he was a bully in his youth. Also, the house that Longbottom is being left alone in has a McAllister alarm system. So now we know what Kevin's up to these days. Ow! Sorry, guys. I feel like I just got hit over the head with a heavy reference. Also here, Oliver Twist sleeps on Star Wars bed sheets. As subtle as a sledgehammer, Disney. I mean, I guess no one's buying that Dead as Dead franchise merchandise, so gotta push it in a film, I guess. There are so many cutaways to people's reaction to reiterate that a joke was just said. They use all of the low close-up angles just to up the wackiness. And so embarrassingly so that Son of the Mask would blush. All the acting is severely over the top. Really, really over the top. You know those jokes in movies where they say the joke and they reiterate the joke and they just keep talking over the top to drill home that what they said was a joke and it should be funny and why aren't you laughing? We keep talking to let you know that a joke just happened. You get it? You know those things? And talking and talking and talking to go, hey, a joke was just said. Remember, look, we're cutting to people. A joke. It's a joke. Get it? We just said a joke. Modern comedies, everyone. It's so forced and pushy humor. The writing's fucking horrendous. It's almost like really bad sitcom comedy writing. It feels like it's a film made for toddlers. But what do we all want to know? Are the traps any good? Because that was sort of the thing in the original movies. We all just stuck around to watch the traps. Even though it was a lovely Christmas movie that happened previous, the traps is where the comedy's at. Well, here we get the limpiest dick gorilla warfare you've ever seen. In the original, the slapstick was absolutely hilarious, and the traps were full on, so much so that it would make Jigsaw impressed. But here, what do we get? A slippery driveway. Cookies with chili in them, which one of the people eat because the script told them to. Mentos put in Diet Coke for explosive purposes. And while one of the robbers are passed out, the kid puts VR goggles on his face, so when he wakes up, he thinks he's on the edge of a cliff. Fuck me! What watered down, inoffensive, limp dick garbage is this? Disney, I beg you, please, do not make a Deadpool movie. I watch the original Home Alone every December. It's on my list of favourite Christmas movies of all time, and you know, growing up, just absolutely loving it. I have a fond memory of me and my family seeing it at the drive-in with our cheeks really sore and tears streaming down our face at how hilarious it was on screen. But here, it's just tears. Also, the kid in this, the little kid, he's not the lead. It's not even his story. I mean, in the originals, Kevin McAllister was front and centre. But this film's perspective is from the robbers. Because now, on screen, we can't have real bad guys in TV shows, in movies, because that's too triggering. Now they're just misunderstood, who are justified from a certain perspective. Oh, and spoiler alert, turns out the kid didn't actually steal the vintage doll. Whoopsie, now there's no stakes. No one's at fault here. Lovely. It was fun. It was fun to watch my childhood get fucking murdered. Like I said before, this film only exists so Disney can justify the price tag that they paid for 20th Century Fox. And like I said, just rebooting everything that they own. There you go, film students. Welcome to the industry. This film shouldn't have been made. At all. It is a horrible piece of shit. That's it. That's my review of Home Sweet Home Alone. It doesn't have the charm or anything of the original, and what I've seen online, it's getting a bit of a bashing, and rightfully so. Guys, it is Christmas. Hate to leave you on a bad note, so please cheer everyone up and myself by writing down below what is your favourite Christmas movie. And of course, if you've made it this far into the episode, please give us a thumbs up, because your love and support keeps us going, because we love movies and I assume you do as well. And of course, don't forget to hit that subscribe icon, because we give out episodes weekly, and we'll see you next week around Christmas for another Christmas movie, and until then, stay spooky, kids.